What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Making Podcasts Great Again. I am your tech stuff guy, Jay Nog, and we are here, of course, with the President of the United States of Mar-a-Lago, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, how are you today?
We're a little tired because, we had to do this because of some people's schedules. The Tech Stuff Agency had all sorts of technical difficulties. So this one Sunday, I guess I can't go to church because we're doing podcasts. I put the podcast even above the Lord sometimes. So this was finally going to be the Sunday when America's greatest Christian finally showed up to church. But because of tech stuff, we're here doing a very powerful Sunday. I can't even watch Joel Osteen right now, So, that's what we do for our podcast people.
So it was a coincidence this week that the one day you were going to go to church and we had to record, there was a conflict here.
Well, there's been all this talk about how tech stuff guy, he's got an anniversary this weekend. So, you know what I do for my anniversary?
What do you do with melatonin for your wedding anniversary?
Absolutely nothing.
How does she feel about that?
Don't care.
Does she voice her opinion to you, or you don't even listen or don't even give her the time?
I don't speak Transylvanian, and I think it shows great strength on my part to sort of, they used to call, you can't say anything with the radical left these days, but there used to be a thing that a man could have. It was called a pimp hand. And some people say that my very large hand is one of the greatest pimp hands of all time. And if I listen to what melatonin wants and needs, it's called weakening your pimp hand. And I want mine to be very strong. So, as we've discussed before, there's times where we're making love and melatonin is speaking Transylvanian going, no. And I don't know what the hell that means. We're in America, speak English. It's called strength.
Mr. President, you are not afraid to get divorces. You've been through a few of them. You have a prenup with melatonin. I don't understand. You're not getting any younger. It doesn't seem like your relationship is very good. You don't celebrate your anniversary. Why don't you get that divorce and have a new first lady when you come back into the White House?
Well, that is the plan. What do you think? You're breaking new ground here?
No, I know, but how come it's taking so long to act on it?
Because we have a country that's stealing an election, and it's called multitask.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can sexually assault and chew gum at the same time as the phrase goes.
That's a phrase. I could sexually assault and chew gum at the same time. I've never heard that phrase before.
Get out into the real world then, tech stuff. You're spending too much time with the computers and the algorithms. But it's a very common phrase. But I will tell you that we're going to pick a very strong, very young, very attractive, very busty, blonde, fourth Mrs. Trump. But, when we're fighting for our country, George Washington wasn't getting married during the revolution. Okay. Right. So, we have plans. We have sort of strong plans.
Would you ever do some sort of like The Bachelor to choose your next wife? Or do you have to pick like a model or someone in the limelight? Or it could be like an everyday woman who no one knows.
Well, let's not be stupid.
Right.
No, she's got to be a 10.
Right.
Okay. She has to be poor, but not like homeless poor, but poor like needs money. So there's like that sort of desperation sort of element to it. She'll do dirtier stuff. Just appropriate, age appropriate, 26 or younger. And that's all. So very simple, not too complicated. A 10 that's desperate and young.
Would you ever think about or entertain the thought of having a competition for your next wife on the podcast where we bring some potential women on the podcast and you can interview them and vet them and maybe as like a bonus episode or something like that and maybe possibly meet your future wife on the podcast? Would that be a possibility in the future?
Now, so we have to do this by Zoom though, right?
Yes.
So would I mail them a cup of my Trump juice for them to like splash in their face so we see how it looks?
We can do that. Yes.
Okay. Well, no, we want to be safe. It's called social distancing. The radical left still wants to do Zoom. So I think we could do that. I think that would be very interesting.
Okay. Something to think about for the future. Now, Mr. President, some things. We had the Justice for J6 rally this past yesterday,
Is
which
that what
we will
is that
get
what they
to.
call Yom Kippur? The J6?
No, no, no. Yom Kippur was during the week, not on the weekend. It was Wednesday to Thursday. Wednesday at sundown, and then Thursday you fasted, and then you broke the
Because
fast
that's
on
what I call
Thursday.
Monica Lewinsky. I call her a J6.
What's your nickname for her?
Out of a J1 through 10, she's a J6.
At least she's not a J1, so that's good.
Well, she used to be a J1 and she lost some weight, and we put her up to a J6.
She was upgraded. Okay. Now I wanted to see if you heard about this in New York City, which is your home. Former home.
They totally went to hell.
Right. Have you ever eaten at Carmine's, an Italian restaurant in New York
Tremendous.
City?
I would say, along with Sabaro's, I would say those are the two best Italian places in New York City.
Okay. Over the weekend, there was a hostess in Carmine's who was assaulted when three women from Texas came into the restaurant to eat, and you have to show proof of your vaccination. And when the hostess asked for their vaccination cards, she was assaulted by the three women from Texas. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have many thoughts on that, because it's not surprising. We don't want to encourage assault. Obviously, we want to be about peace. It's called peace. But this is what I said would happen when you start taking away people's freedom, when you start basically turning it into Nazi Germany, and you have people from Texas, a great Trump state. When you have great patriots coming, thinking, "Oh, we're in America. I just want to have some nice quality Italian food," bringing, by the way, tourist dollars, which New York could do. How about some gratitude, New York? It's like you have tourists coming, trying to build your city back ever since de Blasio and Angry Andrew destroyed it. And you're not doing a thing. You're forcing people to do things that they can't do and shouldn't have to do. So I think, these people coming from Texas, these great, obviously Trump patriots, I respect them. I don't think maybe they should have gotten violent, but you know what? I think I think we're going to see a lot more of this, and I don't totally blame the people. So I think this is, some of the blame is on New York.
So these women, you think they were fighting for their freedom just to eat in a restaurant?
That seems to be what it was. Great.
You think they were Trump supporters for sure?
I mean, if you were betting on betonline.ag, I would say the odds are that they are strong Trump supporters, because they have money, so they're not poor. They're not sitting eating noodles at home. They're traveling to New York, which is not a cheap place, and they're from a great place like a freedom state like Texas, and they're fighting for their freedom. So that's, of course, you don't have to be a Trump supporter, but that certainly sounds like very strong Trump support.
Do you think they should be putting their hands on another person? Why not just, when you're asked for your vaccination card, just leave and go to another restaurant that doesn't ask for a vaccination card?
When the English in the 1940s wanted to tax our tea, and George Washington said, "No, thank you, sir," maybe he should have just said, "Oh, well, you know what? We'll pass. We'll go and just do what the British say." And all of a sudden it's okay.
I think it's a little different with the British taxing.
Martin Luther King, when he went to Starbucks to eat at the counter. Remember how he couldn't eat at the counter? They went to Starbucks. Him and African Americans, they went to Starbucks and they said, "I will take a latte right here. I'm not going somewhere else. Give me my Starbucks latte at the counter." And we applaud that. Wish we should. But now all of a sudden, when great Trump supporters go into Italian restaurants and say, when Mike Pence goes in and says, "Give me the hot Italian sausage in my mouth," all of a sudden, not okay. I wonder why.
Uh, I I agree with you where there are certain freedoms, and if they have the choice of eating at whatever restaurant, but I don't think you should be
Everybody, do you
laying.
hear this? The tech stuff guy is okay with freedom. Oh, what a great victory it is.
But I don't think you should be assaulting people.
Well, you know what? Sometimes we don't like it. I'm not saying we like it, but sometimes it can be necessary. Sometimes you got to fight for freedom. You can't just say, please, sir, may I have some freedom? Sometimes you got to take it. And if there's a Hostess cupcake or a Twinkie at the, whichever Hostess product was saying now, you sometimes you got to take a bite out of that Twinkie and say, get the hell out of my way. I want my freedom. Along with, I think my favorite Hostess thing, the cupcakes with the little, like the swirl, the little like squiggly.
I like those too. Those are good.
I don't even think, even though they're black, I don't even think I would fight them. They're so delicious.
You think that's the top Hostess snack out of all of them?
Well, I'll tell you what's not a good one. Snowballs, even though they look like pink titties, those are not good.
Those are disgusting. Is
You ever-
Yodel's
you ever
Hostess?
you ever grab, those are Drake's. Okay?
Drake's, okay.
It was a black, by the way. You ever look at those? I once, when Ivanka was a baby,
hmm
I once took one of the packs of snowballs and had her like grab them, so it looked like she was grabbing a pair of nice pink titties. It was a touching father-daughter moment.
How old was she?
One. And we framed it. It was called Ivanka's first lesbian moment. And the left says we're not tolerant. The left says we're not tolerant. You get a lot of that when the left is like, I was having Ivanka lesbian grab snowballs at 1 year old, and the left wants to say I'm not tolerant.
What a loving, supportive father. That's fantastic. You do know the women
And then
who
she got the snowball on her hand, and I said, let that, and I licked off, because she couldn't eat it. It was too, so I ate the coconut off it, and it was a very, very personal moment.
I don't know if these women were Trump supporters. Did you get these women's names from Carmine's?
I don't know. I mean, I assume it's like Sally Joe and Ricky Ann and White Trash Karen.
You're right about Sally, and then it's
Okay, so we have a Sally. That's good.
Tayani and Kaida.
Oh,
Sally, Tayani, and Kaida, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Kaeita, I think. Kaida.
okay. So
Kaida.
well, from the sound of it, I don't know about Sally, but from Karate and Tanaka, it sounds like they should get their asses in jail and possibly get the death penalty. You don't come to a city, even if it's a radical left city, and assault a nice, kind hostess at a nice Italian restaurant. You don't bring your Black Lives Matter anger and start causing violence. So I am pushing right now for New York to adopt the death penalty for these people.
So now, instead of them fighting for their freedoms, now you think they should be punished.
Well, you know what, freedom is important, but when you have sort of disgusting, vicious, possibly fatal violence, I think you've got to take strong measures against it. It's very consistent.
What was your change of heart? You were all about pro freedom, and now you're all about punishing them.
We were given more details about the incident.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there was more information, and when you get more information, you have to take it in, and you can't just say one size fits all. Sometimes it's magnum sized violence, and
Mm-hmm.
you've got to give it extra large punishment.
Okay. Would you, after this incident, when you come back to New York, you're vaccinated, so would you go to Carmine's?
It's a good question. I would probably go to Sbarro's first. I think they make better Italian food. So I would go to Sbarro's as sort of my first choice when I'm in New York City.
Why is Sbarro's your first choice? That's like the lowest form of Italian, I feel.
Oh, that's racist, by the way.
Italian food.
Well, you didn't say, well, that's not what we heard. We heard something very, very anti-Italian, very anti-Columbus Day. So I think you should probably have to apologize to some men in tracksuits on Columbus Day.
All right, so Barrow is the choice for you. Our first sponsor this week is Raycon wireless earbuds. Raycons, I listen with them, you listen with them, and there's so much going on in the world right now with COVID spiking again. You need that escape, right? And when I work out, when I take a walk, when I'm just hanging out in my backyard, I'm always listening with my wireless Raycon earbuds. They are the best. Whether you're winding down or getting pumped up for a workout, they are the earbuds to use, and they have new everyday earbuds. They look and feel and sound better than ever with an improved rubber oil look and feel.
Calm down, Mike Pence. Calm down. He heard rubber and oil. You should have seen him come right. He'd like some Raycons.
They have the optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit. They have all these different sizes, and these are impressive. Before you even start listening, there's now.
Let me tell you something before you get to it, because we love our sponsor and we love Raycon. Imagine if these Texas criminals, were just listening to some Raycon earbuds when they walked into car mines. They wouldn't have heard it. They wouldn't have gotten into the argument. So I think it would have created a lot of peace if they had just been listening to some nice podcasts or calm music on some wireless Raycon earbuds.
I agree. They also now have these 3 new sound profiles to make sure everything you're listening to sounds its best with just the right amount of bass. There's 3 modes. Pure mode, it's good for podcast listening, blues, instrumental. They have balance mode, again, good for podcasts, and then also rock, heavy metal. And then you have the bass mode, which is great for hip hop, EDM music, reggae. So they have 3 different modes on there now also.
I think that's bass mode, which is for our great fishermen also.
That is true. There's also an all-new awareness mode for when you need to listen to your surroundings instead. If someone's asking you a question or you're walking in the city and it's very noisy, this new awareness mode. Raycon offers 8 hours of playtime, a 32-hour battery life. That's the most of any earbuds that I know of, especially wireless. There's also a built-in mic so you can talk on the phone, take your calls at the press of a button. Raycon start at half the price of other premium audio brands, but they sound just as good. And Raycons come with a 45-day happiness guarantee. We're offering all our great listeners of Making Podcasts Great Again a special deal. Get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/MPGA. That's buyraycon.com/MPGA to save 15% on Raycons. And again, let me tell you, holidays are coming up. Great holiday gifts for your friends and family. Buyraycon.com/MPGA. Also, our last announcement is our Patreon. That's right. We have a live episode with the QAnon this Thursday, the 23rd of September at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. There is our Otto the dog is in trouble this week, so you want to listen in for that. And it's patreon.com/MPGA. We had some new patrons come in this week. Give it a try at the $5 level for the bonus episodes.
New people who joined. And
that's right.
Not enough. You need. We're fine. Well, I don't know if tech stuff's fine. Your president is certainly fine. But join. You need it.
That's right.
We're doing a nice thing for you. Many people say that this level of Patreon content should be, they say to me, sir, this is at least $200 a month worth of content. And I said, I know it's probably even more than that. We're giving it away for $5 and $10 and the $6.90 Ivanka level, which is obviously very strong to me as a father.
So we have our Perfect 10 live episode QAnon this Thursday, the 23rd, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Patreon.com/MPGA. Give it a try, even at the $5 level. We had many upgrades this week also. So check it out. Patreon.com/MPGA. Mr. President, yesterday was the Justice for J6 rally, and your son Don Jr. was his Twitter hands were going crazy yesterday, just mocking the undercover cops and the security that was put in there for the J6 rally. I was told that there wasn't such a fantastic turnout. From what I've read, small crowds, lots of conspiracy theorists. The law enforcement outnumbered the protesters. They were undercover cops that Don Jr. was making fun of. He was mocking the whole thing on social media. Tell me your thoughts about the rally and the thoughts about your son's actions on Twitter.
Well, Don Jr. raw dogs Kim Gargoyle, so I don't think we need to get into what a low character piece of trash he is.
Okay.
But this was not a sanctioned Trump event. And somebody was nice enough, and this is true tech stuff guy. If you go to our powerful Facebook page, Making Podcasts Great Again, I posted a video of some of the great speeches that were given yesterday.
Really?
And a woman who I don't think supports our podcast, but had very good ideas. She said, "You probably think this was a real Trump event, but it wasn't. It was a false flag setup." And you can see somebody actually wrote this on our Facebook page.
I will check it
And
out.
that was a popular idea that I think has some merit, that some people were saying this was a fake rally meant to bring in some of our great supporters so that they could arrest them and sodomize them.
So you think this was orchestrated by the government to capture supporters?
False flag.
Right.
No, Mike, false flag. Mike Pence, always ready to contribute. Still talks about you. He's still a big fan of yours tech stuff, or whichever tech stuff one he was talking with and getting horny for.
So who orchestrated this? Are you accusing the Biden administration of orchestrating this rally, or do you think it was someone else? Was it the Illuminati?
It was probably a combination of George Soros, Crooked Hillary, LeBron James, and Koala Bear Harris, because Sleepy Joe's not doing anything. Sleepy Joe has no idea what's going on. Sleepy Joe still thinks it's January 6th, 1952. So we're not concerned so much about him. I mean, he's destroying the country, but he's not the one pulling the strings. He's just he's sitting there in his soiled underwear, drinking warm milk, going, "What the hell is happening here, Jack?" Okay. So I think this was an operation set up, but I think it's worth exploring what this very smart person wrote on our Facebook. It's very worth exploring. I think that if it was a false operation to set up patriots, I think we should look into that.
Now, you're a very powerful man. Why don't you don't agree what Don Jr. was doing? Why don't you have Don Jr.'s?
I agree.
Okay.
I think he was making some good points, but overall, Don Jr. is, like I said, he's, you can't really, I mean, he's having sex with Gavin Newsom's sloppy 93rds. So, I don't think you can really, you don't want to associate yourself, notice if Sleepy Joe says something right, I'm not going to compliment him because I don't want to be associated with his horrible brand, even if he's right. Don Jr. is sort of the same thing. It's like, okay, you can be right once a month, you say something correct, but you're a coked up, chinless loser, raw dogging Gavin Newsom's sloppy 133rds. So why would I want to talk to you? And why would I want to endorse what you're saying, even if what you're saying is right? Similar to last week, as you remember, when I talked about how we had better ratings than kiddie porn.
That's right.
And this was sort of whoever the tech stuff guy was last week. I think his name was Fred. He was saying, you don't want to say that, even if it's true. You don't want to. And that's sort of the same sort of idea is Don Jr. can say something right by luck, but he's such a pathetic brand. He's a coked up, chinless, insecure bitch who is, doing anal with Gavin Newsom's sloppy 244ths. So why would I want to promote that he said something correct? Because it'll only tarnish me.
Okay. So you just basically let him run and do what he's doing, and just you don't have his back on anything that he's tweeting, and validate it.
I know, because he's getting pegged in the back by Gavin Newsom's sloppy 503rds. So I would not want to have his back. Mike Pence might want his back. I certainly don't want his back after he's been with the gargoyle.
I understand that. A few more things to go over on this episode. Former Attorney General William Barr. How are you standing with him right now? You still don't like him, or
the person who did not in any way assassinate Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes, that person.
I'm not a big fan.
Okay. Well, he came out in the press and he said that
Mike
he
came out in the press.
he said in an article that he warned you before the election that you were going to lose because suburban voters think, and this is in quotes, that you are a fucking asshole. That's what he says. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, what you're misquoting, and this is what the fake news does. Now, Bill Barr walked in on me one time doing anal with melatonin. So he then told the press, I can't believe that guy was fucking asshole. And the fake news, of course, wants to turn it into something else, that, oh, Bill Barr disagreed. No, Bill Barr was just impressed and wanted to tell everybody, because melatonin is obviously a 10. So it's a special prize to be doing that. Not even on my birthday, just on a random day in the Oval Office in front of a tour group of kids. And he walked in with the kids. And
this is on a tour of the White House.
They saw their first lady. They now call her the Deuce Lady. That's what they refer to her as. And so he was explaining to the kids and the press what was going on. He wasn't calling me a fucking asshole. He was describing the powerful action I was taking as president.
Okay. Well, thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate it. Two more things I want to.
Thanks to strong antibiotics, what I got from melatonin was also clearing up.
That's good news. I'm sorry that I don't know how your wife would get anything if she wasn't cheating on you.
Well, Transylvanian herpes is a very strong strain.
Did not know that. I'm learning a lot today. Mr. President, two more things I want to discuss with you. LeVar Burton was up for hosting.
Was he assaulting somebody at Carmine's too? Because I would give him the death penalty.
No. He was up for hosting the TV show Jeopardy. We talked about this in the past. Alex Trebek was the host. He passed away from cancer, and they've been searching for a host to replace him. LeVar Burton was doing a great job. People were saying, everyone thought he was the front runner, and then he did not get the job.
I mean, it's because he's African-American. They thought he would run the fastest, but it turns out not so fast.
Well, I think this is kind of a lame move here. He recently came out in the press and said
Mike came out in the press.
He really didn't want the job in the first place. Now, isn't that what a person says when they really did want the job but didn't get it? So they always say they didn't want it. What do you think about this?
Well, except for me, because I said I didn't really want to be president, and then I was too talented and got the job anyway. So okay. I'm sort of the anti-LeVar Burton. I'm sort of the best case scenario. No, I think LeVar Burton, they fired this very nice white guy from Jeopardy for making jokes. It's called cancel culture, and it was one of the worst examples. And then they get LeVar Burton, who, if you remember, he was in this documentary called Roots. Okay. And he was stealing property from a white business owner. And they had no problem with that, though. They had no problem with him being a thief, a felon, most likely. And he stole property. He stole Kunta Kinte he tried to. He didn't succeed, but he tried. It was attempted robbery. And he was going by a name instead of LeVar Burton. He was claiming to be Kunta Kinte. So he was lying. He was doing theft of property. And then all of a sudden, Jeopardy, the white guy makes a joke and they go, "You're fired." But LeVar Burton does crimes and uses a fake name. And oh, he should host Jeopardy. So I applaud Jeopardy for not hiring him because he's a criminal. And it would have been a disgrace if he was the host.
He's playing a character when you saw that on Roots, playing a character. He's
Oh no,
not
that's
really
of course.
playing
Yes,
himself.
so yes, you can say he was playing a character. And Home Alone 2, the greatest sequel ever made. I was playing a character called Donald Trump.
You were, I think you were playing yourself in the
Well, I
movie.
wasn't. You notice I didn't say my name was Mr. Kunta Kinte. I said my name was Donald Trump. So you can use the character excuse. I think he has no character, to be honest.
For our last piece of news, Mr. President, I know you are you finished Netflix. I don't know how many other apps that you finished and of streaming shows.
Oh, I
And
can tell you, Mike Pence is a big fan of Peacock.
the Emmys are coming up, and the host is Cedric the Entertainer. Do you think that is a
Well, by
good
the
host?
time we should let the people know we're doing, as I said before, strong Sunday church recording. So they'll know the results by the time they hear this episode.
That's right. Yes. Do you think Cedric the Entertainer is a good host for the show? And is my first question.
I bet you if he was hosting at Carmine's, they wouldn't have assaulted him.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you think he's a good host for the show, though?
Well, his name's the Entertainer. So obviously, it's a tough name. You know, when your parents name you the Entertainer, that's pretty tough to live up to. So I think he's probably somebody who's done great entertaining. He's a friendly guy. He's not too political, which we like. And, I think he's going to do a strong job.
We know this episode comes out and the Emmys would have happened already. Do you have any predictions for the Emmys?
I do. I think radical left Hollywood hates America. They hate America, so they're going to reward a lot of these British shows. I think The Crown is going to win. I think Ted Lasso is going to win. And I think they're doing this to sort of say we don't support American shows because they're giving all this love to these British shows. And then obviously there's going to be some African Americans who win, and maybe they'll let one or two white people win awards. But overall, I think it's going to be a very anti-American and very racist show.
Do you think the marvelous Miss Maisel is going to sweep again like they did last year?
Schitt's
Won
Creek,
lots of awards.
Schitt's Creek swept last year.
Miss Maisel didn't Miss Maisel win a bunch of awards last year?
Not last year. Schitt's Creek was that was a Canadian show, once again showing that they hate America.
Okay.
Maisel won a couple of years ago, but it was Schitt's Creek for the sweep last year, which was a piece of shit. And this year it's going to be Ted, British Soccer, Lasso, and The Crown with British old people winning in the drama. And I think it's a total disgrace. And I think I will boycott the Emmys until they start giving Americans the awards.
All right. Well, you heard it here. These are the predictions, and we will see on the live episode if you were correct about these predictions. Mr. President, I appreciate your time, especially on a Sunday when you should be observing Jesus and going to church. But instead, you came here to join us on this episode. Thank you so much for putting this episode over God. Thank you so much.
Trump be with you. Tech stuff.
Trump be with you. I also want to thank Raycon. Raycon, our powerful sponsor. Go to buyraycon.com/MPGA. Holidays are coming up. That's 15% off on your order on Raycons. They are the best wireless earbuds out there. So check those out. Again, it's buyraycon.com/MPGA. Our bonus episode is this Thursday, the 23rd at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's patreon.com/MPGA. Like I said before, try the $5 level, tons of bonus episodes, hours and hours and hours of material, and hopefully you'll upgrade. We had some upgrades this week. Give it a shot. $5. That's all it costs. Patreon.com/MPGA. Mr. President, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
Very strong parting words. Hi, everybody. It's JL. Just letting you know, shows coming up the usual this week. well, the end of this week, by a week from now, I'll be in Philly. So on September 26th, headlining Helium Comedy Club in Philadelphia. October 6th, Raleigh, North Carolina at Good Nights. October 15th at the Brokerage in Belmore, Long Island. October 23rd, my special recording in New York City. And just added 2 big shows, Pittsburgh Improv, December 9th, and Flappers in Burbank, the big room, February 6th, 2022. I know it's a long ways off, but fortunately it's the week in between the championship games and the Super Bowl. So if you want to see another large human being destroying their brain, come see me headline Flappers on February 6th. So all the West Coast people, come on. They're giving me grief. This is like a venue that's like, they bully the comics. So get your tickets now so they don't keep bothering me of like ticket sales or blah, blah. Like get the ticket. If you've wanted me to come out West, I'm trying to book some other gigs out West, but right now, oh, and DC Improv, December 16th to the 19th. So a lot of venues, mostly East Coast, but obviously making my way out there. And the anchor show is February 6th, 2022 at Flappers. So get your tickets now. The links are all on my website, except for Pittsburgh. I will have that link later this week up on my website. So thank you. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you for listening. Go get vaccinated and God help us all.